I think I might do away with the introduction music
Why?
this episode.
Okay.
I don't think in the modern world with the ever-changing media landscape that
What's going on?
there's as much space for intro. I'm being serious. I think just open it straight in.
Well, yeah.
Well, what podcast do you listen to? You're just Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon, Kill Tony is, but that's
Do they have
but that's
intros?
live. It's live, so it's different.
Yeah.
Well, anything
that you
any
listen to
podcast
regularly.
tries to give the illusion of them being in the room that you're in by just jumping straight into the conversation.
Yeah.
But I quite like having a bit of theatre.
Yeah, but
what's wrong with a bit of theatre?
Well, I think what's wrong with a bit of theatre is what I personally have against a bit of theatre. Is if
Imagine if that was someone's just
Emily Maitlis on Channel
we've
4.
literally made a sketch about that.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, the idea as well is running dry at the moment, guys. But I just feel if I listen to something regularly, I'm always skipping the intro. And I've slowly, when we started, the intro music was 30 seconds long. It was insane. And then maybe every 2 months, I'd take 2 seconds off the intro.
Right.
So now
you're
it's
just gonna stop.
it's 10 seconds with a 4-second fade. So it's about 6 seconds, and then it starts fading out.
I think people will miss it.
I don't know. We'll comment below. I think it's just...
They're not going to comment. It's pointless asking.
They will comment.
No, it's pointless asking.
Yeah, it's true.
No one ever comments.
Well, speak now or forever hold your truth.
Yeah,
because if
that's
there's,
true.
If there's not a huge, I think people will be fine with doing away with the theatre. This is not theatre. Podcast is not art.
Why do you think it's like saving time? Cut the bullshit, get straight in.
Straight in.
Well, there's something about it's Friday. Let's dive in.
Yeah, I guess you'd lose the theme music, which is like, now I know it's Friday. Does that not taste very nice?
No, it tastes great.
Look at this smug bottle. Oh my! You do look thick. Oh my god.
Well,
yeah.
I just wanted to get this out of the way early, really.
And it was filmed on the podcast.
I was just looking at...
You slagged off my big bottle.
exactly the same.
And then immediately, you slagged it off so much that you got one yourself.
Yeah.
It's because you invested emotionally so much in slagging it off that you were in a headspace where you're like, I'm going to get one now.
Yeah, why not?
When did you decide that? Did you decide that while you were slagging me off? Or was it afterwards?
It was because you saw what I just saw last week. So... when you picked up that bottle and took a sip of it, you look like a dickhead.
You look like a baby.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look like you're a baby with his bottle.
With this big giant cup. A sippy cup.
A big
going, na.
Yeah.
More water.
Yeah.
So
you do look thick.
You look thick when you drink it.
Yeah.
So I actually
think I look like a sophisticated gentleman when I drink mine.
No one can look like no one with 2 litres of water in their hand can ever look like a sophisticated gentleman.
No, I think I look like a suave...
Yeah,
it's sort of like the gentleman's...
You look like you're shoveling a bucket of liquid into your face. And it's impossible for anyone to look suave with 2 litres of water in their hand.
I look like I'm in The Gentleman, the film The Gentleman.
Yeah.
That would be my... Colin Firth is when he shows him the secret world of the gentleman. Then I come in with my big pink neon.
Is that your James Bond drink instead of martini shaken not stirred? Can I have 2 litres of water in a bottle where the handle is also part of the bottle? Please.
Can I have a small keg of water, please?
What do you mean you can't do that? No, so everyone but how could you possibly looking suave and like a gentleman is not over consuming. It's kind of having a little bit of a drink, but not too much. Do you know there's a classy drunk and there's an alcoholic. The classy drunk has a couple of drinks and goes home. The alcoholic stays out and eventually rolls around in mud. What are
your thoughts on the ideal or the values of the gentleman, the English gentleman?
It's really good you've asked me.
I'm glad.
What do you mean? What are my thoughts on the ideal?
Because I'm a bit torn with the ideals of the English gentleman because it's consistently problematized because it represents the abhorrent class issues in this country.
Yeah.
But if we do away with I do think there's something there to the values of the gentleman.
It depends. There's a lot of different values of the gentleman.
Or the gentle days.
The gentle days. There's a lot of different...
The gentledoms.
The gentledoms. The gentledoms. No. The biggest thing that
Because you've got values of the gentleman.
I absolutely have
Yeah.
values of the gentleman. Ham and cheese sandwich for lunch, discipline. That's
not the
That's a
gentleman.
joke. Yeah, I know.
Good,
I know.
good.
I don't. That's not what I think it is.
No, that's how to make it through prison without killing someone in the shower.
Just ham and cheese. Leave it at that. No, I've got moderately strong views on the gentleman because when I'm if someone gets annoyed at me,
It's a set of values, isn't
yeah.
it?
If someone gets annoyed at me for holding a door open for a girl, then you can get fucked.
Yeah. Then she's getting a turtle slap right in the face.
What's a turtle slap?
Turtle slap is when you start with your hand is fully extended.
Right.
And so for the whole, you go like this.
So it's more like,
there's no like...
There's no whip.
There's no whip. It's just bang.
Yeah. But that's less aggressive than a normal
No, but it
slap.
looks funnier.
It does look funnier.
It's kind of...
Where did you learn that?
I don't know. Milo told me.
Was that recently?
No.
Okay, it's weird that you've just never heard. You've never brought up.
We brought up turtle slap.
We have never spoken
I don't
about
know why it's called a
slap.
turtle. Well, I guess because it
looks like a turtle.
Yeah, a turtle slap.
Looks like a fin.
If a woman, after you gentlemanly hold the door open for a lady, if she doesn't seem...
If she goes, I can do
great,
it myself.
then turtle slap.
Yeah. Well, that's oddly the values of the gentleman have
And sent her back the way she
been
comes.
completely disregarded immediately.
So she goes back through the door as well. That's
back
the
through
key.
the door. Yeah. Well, there's certain things because I think it's nice. Well, because are we talking about chivalry?
We're talking about the whole... Because I follow a couple of people on TikTok, to my shame almost. Or is it to my shame? There's a couple of...
Bear in mind, when you follow people on TikTok, your boy's gone wild to follow people on TikTok. So just watch out for
name's
something. I'm there.
all over. Big Brazilian booties.
Yes. Well, it would be worse if I was in charge. So.
I would love if you mistakenly thought follows were private. That would be...
Yeah.
That would just be hilarious.
Oh, we'd be cancelled.
That'd be so...
It'll be all over.
Just the moment. What, you mean everyone can see them?
Yeah.
Just...
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, no, I shouldn't be put in charge of any
People can see your comments. Hi, beautiful princess.
And all the liked videos. Just, oh, God. The array would be staggering, but...
I follow Tom Chamberlain, who's he's the editor-in-chief of The Rake, which is like...
The Rake?
Which is a magazine for gentlemen, really. And
The Rake?
It's called The Rake.
Why is it called The Rake?
Don't know.
What is in the...
Not like a garden
how you
rake.
Well, what else? What other rakes
I
are
don't
there?
know. I'm not enough of
there
a
you go.
gentleman to know.
Yeah.
But he...
That's neither am
I follow him. It's a similar appeal. Weirdly, it has a similar appeal to why people like Andrew Tate. It's a lifestyle thing because he just lives a ridiculous life. And so I'm interested.
Yeah.
And so he's obsessed with the idea of what a gentleman is, suits, tailoring, the exclusive London clubs, and just and I nothing I'll ever get involved in, but I'm interested for someone telling me about, okay, so what are the most prestigious gentlemen's clubs, you know?
Is that like
it's
titty bars?
Titty bars.
We're
No,
talking titty
gentlemen's bars.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
that would be.
You know,
I think that
gentlemen's clubs is a titty
they're called
bar.
they're not called gentlemen's clubs, would they? They're just called like like the London clubs. You know, like, you know,
but they're just clubs where certain people of a certain ilk go
certain
to.
ilk, and it's
You have to have a waistcoat to get in.
He'll have a whole 2-minute TikTok talking about his like top 5 favorite pocket squares. You know, I never going to wear a pocket square, but the intensity in which he talks about pocket squares, I'm invested. And, you know, as the seasons change, you know, how a gentleman deals with it, you know, now when to change the colours of your suits and
but
stuff
this is
like
a lot about fashion.
That's a lot about fashion.
Yeah.
But
because is the British gentleman fashion, alcohol, and chivalry?
but it's a type of alcoholism, isn't it?
No, I know,
It's
but
very
like, I
specific.
know, obviously, but
But you
are
think that's
those
the
the
big
three
three?
things?
Well, 'cause
Fashion,
I've always
alcohol,
thought
and
about this,
chivalry.
It's like English gentlemen could be charged with like ruining the world 100 years ago. It was sort of those guys who
They were in charge of like the East India Company.
All the people who've caused all the problems that Britain still hasn't dealt with were gentlemen. All right, so it is fairly
But
problematized.
you'd be hard pressed to find someone in that kind of society who wasn't a gentleman.
No, well, I mean, it's just rich people in that society. So, and so the people actually making the decisions.
Yes.
But having said that, I wonder, is there still something of value to the specific
But that's why I'm trying to break it down.
Yeah.
We're
So
back
what
to
is
square
it?
one.
Yeah.
It's like, is it chivalry, fashion, and a certain type of alcohol?
Yes.
I can't really think of anything else that goes into it.
Well, it's a way of
Carrying yourself.
How do
you carry yourself?
And something that I could never
Manners.
manage to do is manners. I could never do the kind of clean suits and like I'm not someone who can just keep my clothes pressed.
No.
That's why I'd struggle to be a gentleman. But I don't mind seeing people who take care of their clothes. You know what I mean? And
You don't mind seeing people who take care. Who minds that?
Well,
who has got that problem?
well,
Who's going around saying all these people
the
with
gentleman
freshly
is
pressed clothes?
the gentleman is dying as a breed.
Yeah, but no one's around going, I'm pissed off at that man who's ironed his
No,
shirt.
no, but you know what I mean. It's certainly if you wore a dapper suit tailored
Right.
in Savile Row,
Yeah.
and you rocked up, I think there's fewer and fewer places where where you don't start standing
out.
Yeah,
Well, you know my stance on this.
because you'd be a big suit guy
When
you're old.
when I'm old.
Yeah,
Because like you've got there's certain I think it's fashionable at that age to take care of how you dress.
Yeah.
There's kind of a different element. Like you can't when you hit 60 years old, you can't be trying to fit in with the fashion trends. So that's when being a
Classic,
gentleman
yeah.
is fashion.
yeah.
That's when it kind of comes full circle.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're walking around in a three-piece suit and like a pocket watch at our age around Soho, everyone's going to think you're a freak.
And
for, kind of justified in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, do what you want to do, but why are you doing
I do
that?
think internationally, being a gentleman that still has value abroad, that still stands
Yeah.
out, is quite a unique
Well, people,
thing.
I think
'Cause here
foreign people want to meet
that's
the,
what they
the
want.
archetypal British gentleman.
And that's when you start really
That's
realizing
when you can do a good deal because they're kind of in awe of you.
They love
Yeah.
it. That's like the shtick.
Yeah.
As you want. If you see an Italian guy, you want him covered
You want
in
him drenched in
bolognese.
pasta. You do.
You do. And so like here, it's so weighted as like,
Yeah.
a lot of people would call you a nonce.
What if
For
you were
wearing a pocket square.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said if he's covered in bolognese. I was like,
Well, probably is.
Probably, yeah.
Two different types of nonsense.
yeah,
but,
yeah. What the bolognese and the pocket squares are.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still
And never the twain shall meet.
yeah, because it's like also, I don't think private schools should exist anymore. But there will be something lost when you
Yeah.
lose that level of elitism, which is fine. But we need to come to terms with what is being lost.
Yeah.
There is
Well,
a specific type of thing that
chivalry,
only happens here.
Chivalry suits
Yeah.
a certain type of manners. And what was the other one?
Alcoholism.
No,
Sherry.
a certain type of alcohol.
Drinking
sherry and
so
brandy,
how would you say
brandy.
how does a gentleman get fucked up?
He gets fucked up on brown liquor.
Brown liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And nothing else.
Martinis.
Martinis, no, that's the gentle lady.
No, it's not.
It's the gentle lady,
No,
and I
it's
think
not.
Bond perpetuates a fallacy.
Do you
I think he really does. How many gentlemen do you know who's not, getting effed up on the brownies?
I think the gentleman,
Not like weed brownies.
is trying to when he's in play mode, leisure mode.
Don't say play mode. Yeah, when he's reclined.
Yes, I think he is open to trying many different fruits of pleasure.
As long as they're brown.
I don't think it's just brown.
Brown liquor?
I think he has gin and tonics, definitely.
No, that's the gentle lady.
No, it's not the gentle lady.
That's rule number one of gentleman society.
Yeah.
The ladies drink the clear liquors. The gentlemen drink the brown liquors.
And it's also the.
Do you actually think? So who's that bloke that you listen to?
The Rock,
or
Dwayne the
whatever?
Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Do you actually think that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is going to a Soho club and drinking a gin and tonic? No, the Instagram guy.
Yes, he would.
The
Definitely,
Instagram guy.
definitely.
No,
because he's going to these like
No.
But it. Do you know
Then
what
he's
it
not a
is?
proper
Do you know what it
gentleman.
is? No. I think it's
the gentlemen retire to the smoking room to drink port, brandy, or whiskey. They do not drink G&T's. You must be having a gentle laugh.
Hold up. I'm not having a gentle laugh, actually. No, I'm not having... I'm not making a gentle jive, actually.
You're making a gentle joke, and you're making a gentle mockery out of this gentle conversation.
I'm not making a gentle mockery out of this gentle conversation, actually. I'm telling quite gentle truths that only a true gentleman would know. I'd give it to you when a gentleman retires to the smoking room. Then it's predominantly brown liquors, but there's sherry, which has a reddish tinge. There's a port, dark liquor.
Yeah.
But a gentleman, not only does he dress for different times of the day, not only does he dress for different seasons, he also drinks for different
times and different
temperatures,
seasons.
different, so like.
No, I think you're thinking
you
of
have
a metro.
sharpeners. You have sharpeners before.
You have fallen into the trap of the metrosexual gentleman.
Well, no, this is not a gentle trap.
You have fallen into the gentle trap of the metrosexual gentleman. For the metrosexual gentleman cannot properly be described as a pure gentleman.
So what's a dandy then?
A dandy is what you're describing.
No, a dandy's part of the gentleman.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but not a true gentleman. A dandy.
So
dandy is a gin and tonic. A dandy is a bit like your dad. Your dad's got dandiness to him.
He does have a dandiness to him.
A bit more joyous, frivolous, a bit more jolly. Bumbles about with a bit more.
No, my dad's like new money trash is what he is actually.
Well, I didn't want to be rude.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
And I'm
fine.
deeply ashamed.
No, but like he's got, they'll wear
He's
the
a
more.
sex tourist.
A dandy wears we all know, yeah. Which is actually where we get on. A dandy wears the purple waistcoats even when they're a bit garish. The dandy goes around and will drink gin and tonic on any hours of the day. The dandy follows less rules of the gentleman. The gentleman has very specific rules that they have to live by, else while they won't be a gentleman.
That was very gentlemanly of you.
Thank you very much. I do try my best to be as gentlemanly as possible with these gentle conversations, but the gentleman has stern rules.
Yeah.
The dandy's primary rules are have a good time whilst being flamboyant and rich, I think.
Sure. So with your theorem that gentlemen
Thank you kindly, sir. Yes.
only drink hard liquors, brown or reddish with tinge.
A dark, if you will.
Would a gentleman, when he's having maybe a beef supper, I don't know.
I've got a bourguignon.
A bourguignon, sure.
Yeah.
But probably, to be honest, he's probably
Spuds and-
it's probably a big slab of well cooked lamb or beef or something like that.
Yeah, with like a mint sauce.
What's he drinking with that?
What's he drinking? A lovely red wine.
That's what I mean.
Horatio.
So it's not just liquor.
Yeah, but we were talking about liquor.
Okay, fine.
I'm saying, that's that. Of course, the gentleman drinks pears of lamb with a red wine.
What happens?
And he'll drink white only with fish.
Yeah, of course.
Only. But he
Definitely.
will never drink white for leisure. If there was no food in front of him that requires it to be white, the gentleman will never have white wine.
So if two gentlemen were meeting up,
God forbid.
If two gentledems were meeting up before
In a gentle situation.
at maybe like 6:30,
The gentleman's out.
they know they're having a spot of supper at 7:30.
Yeah.
What are they having at the bar while they have a couple of sharpeners? Maybe sitting.
Wait,
soft.
sorry. So this is a
They're
good
meeting
question.
up at like
but it depends where.
a gentleman's club, not the Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah.
And before they go through to eat a spot of supper, they will have sharpeners. It's still sunny out. It's
Yeah.
maybe a spring afternoon.
Yeah.
They're not drinking hard liquor then.
I think they might be.
They would be having G&Ts or martinis.
No. The dandy might, yes, but not the gentleman. No. The gentleman will be one. They won't just be. They'll be going for like a taster menu kind of thing.
Not every.
They'll be going for an aperitif.
This is a Wednesday night. This is a Tuesday. This is an everyday. This is not a big deal.
Yeah, I see your point, but I
Thank you.
still don't think that the gentleman would ever be seen in public sipping on clear liquor. It just can't add up to me. I think they'd probably started off with a red wine.
Interesting.
I think it'll be a red wine to start off. Yeah, if they're at the bar before they go in, before they're taken into the restaurant, a red wine, one glass of red wine, and then they'll go straight into, and then they'll carry on with the wine, and then eventually end up on the dark liquor.
So, and interestingly, you can trace back nearly all the games that we like were all devised by gentlemen who are drunk on hard
Connect
liquor.
4.
Connect 4.
What do you actually mean?
Doodle Jump. That was
Doodle Jump, yeah. Angry Birds.
Because in this video by Tom Chamberlain on TikTok talking about the most prestigious clubs in London, one of the oldest ones, he said that it started actually as a room to play poker, and that's where the game whist, which we love very much, was invented. You know, bridge was invented by gentlemen. Yeah, by gentlemen.
Well, there's the
football was invented by gentlemen. Rugby, cricket, badminton. It's all invented by bored gentlemen abroad when there's not much to do after you've colonised a place.
Yeah.
It's on a beach somewhere when
you've successfully subjugated your subject. What do we do? What do we do? Once we've crushed the spirits of this nation, what do we do now? And they're just, which is one of the darkest ways for a game to be.
That's why the gentleman's an incredibly problematic.
They're just a bit like, oh, that was a bit easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What are we going to do now?
Badminton.
Let's invent badminton. So we've got something to do in this nation that we've colonised and are now going to exploit. So which is the darker? Well, let's not
throw the baby out with the bathwater. Is what my argument for the gentleman.
Because let's not say that everything's wrong with the gentleman. Just the previous iterations of gentleman have really ruined it for the the subsequent iterations of the gentleman. So the Andrew's new fitness regime continues.
Yeah. Yes,
it goes strong.
Well, I'm very impressed that you haven't broken your vape.
Not fucking touched it.
And you got absolutely cunted 2 days in a row last week. 3 days in a row. And you didn't touch
didn't touch the stuff.
Any of the devil's smoke.
The devil's powder. Vapor. Devil's vapor. It's not powder. But yeah, no, it's when I decide. I think, very impressive in general. But yeah, we'll see.
Because that's good. When we talked in the early iterations of Boys Gone Wild, we did have that discussion. It's like, you drink a lot now and it's a lot of fun. It stops getting fun later. But it looks like with this level of willpower when it comes to vaping, I do feel that once the first divorce goes through, I think you might even
stop drinking.
Yeah, well, no, but curtail.
No,
well, you're gonna still problematically.
I've already curtailed my drinking, which is the annoying fucking thing I have to put with here, because you just think I'm downstairs pissed out of my mind 24/7, which I'm fucking not.
You used to drink whiskies now.
Where?
Exactly.
Well, I'll have one for the Patreon.
Yeah.
No, I have actually curtailed my drinking quite effectively, because I'm still getting lit on the weekend because I'm still 20. I'm still 25.
No, I'm just saying that it's good for, like, if you look into the future.
No, I do know when to stop things.
It looks like
it feels like I don't in the moment, but I actually do know when to stop things.
Long term, I think you'll be all right. I think you might make it through. You'll be all right.
I think so too.
I think you'll be good.
Yeah.
I think you'll be.
There's been a lot of people who don't think that.
I was one of them.
I know you were the fucking leader of
many
years. You were the leader of that pack.
I was saying it's cute now. Just you wait.
You wait until I'm like
to strangers. Sorry,
one of those guys. So that's the biggest reason to stop any kind of smoking. Is that you don't want to be one of.
There's that Louis C.K. bit about
socks?
Seeing a Mexican guy do that, and he still has a Mexican accent. Hello, and it's like, he's speaking out of his. How does the accent come out?
Well, of course, there's always accents.
How does the accent come out of the throat box?
Well, it just must do.
What? How does it?
But every time you see one, they have an accent. Well, because if you
because it's not coming out your mouth, and I thought you'd think that.
Yeah, but what accent would it come out as then?
Jamaican.
Yeah, why isn't it all Jamaican?
I don't know. I thought it'd be some sort of like. I don't know. In my head,
how does that make any sense?
Sounds like Siri, or it's just sort of a default.
Well, what would the default be? That's the nonsense. That's why it doesn't actually make any sense. Of course, there's some sort of accent.
It is weird though to think. Well, no,
because they still talk. They still talk, but it vibrates instead. It's not like it comes straight out there. There's still mouth. Because how would you form a word if you don't use your mouth? It's actually a dumb bit.
Is it?
Yeah. Because how would you form? You can't just suddenly get language from your throat. You have to use your mouth to form a word.
So I guess
what it's doing is it's vibrating there to allow the sound to actually come out.
Yeah.
But your mouth is still being used.
So if you had no tongue, you couldn't speak like this.
Yeah, you can't speak with no tongue.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair to say if you didn't have a tongue, you wouldn't have an accent. It's a stupid bit.
Okay.
But yes. So I went to Barry's boot camp, which some of you may know. It's like where I think you described it best.
Well, yeah, BB does it with her sister quite a lot. Was trying to drag me along. It's like
but you didn't want to go because you're scared. There'll be loads of. You'll be the only guy there, and all these attractive women will be laughing at you, and you'll fall off the treadmill. That's what you'll think will happen.
It's sort of like, is it like a gym discoteca?
It's a bit like let's get lit and have fun in our lives, because you imagine that it was all women.
Yeah.
Whereas it was actually so I was kind of going with that perspective that I might be the only guy there. Yeah. On a Friday midday kind of thing. It was a nice split. It was a nice split of men and women. I haven't, as someone who hasn't really ever gone to a gym. It was good to get the locker room experience.
Yes,
it's good to see some cocks. Good to see some cock and balls. Like I haven't really had the situation where it's like a communal shower. let's all get our dicks out. We'll slap them on the table and see what's going on. Because that's the fun bit. Because it's like, maybe you guys were better at the workout, but let me get into the shower, because that's when I'm going to
What, with the women?
Yeah.
You're saying I've got the biggest cock
You let me
out.
get you in the shower. No, with the men. Because it was like, they were doing bigger weights, because, you know, they've been working out. It was like, I'll see you in the shower, buddy.
Yeah, okay.
I'll see you in the fucking shower.
Yeah, because we were talking about this, actually. It's, since school, pretty much.
Yeah.
Strangers' cocks are out of our routine.
Oddly out of our lives.
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't see.
Well,
I don't see another
we didn't
man's
even really
cock.
see it at school. I guess at school it would be
Showers.
Yeah, but not really.
Not really.
We had like I like after year 8 we didn't have a commune of showers really.
Yeah, we stopped the cock measuring contests after.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there was always 1 or 2 guys in every person's year who would always find it hilarious to get their penis out.
Yeah, there's always that guy.
And it was.
It was always funny.
It was always funny because it was just the shock, and the more like inappropriate the times, the better it was. And I always admired them because they had something that I didn't have.
What was that?
Chutzpah.
Grace,
decorum, and, you know, all of those things.
Gentlemen.
They're the true gentleman. When the conversation lulls, the penis
comes out.
it is polite to show your penis to the rest of the team to kind of allow the banter to happen. But yeah, so I don't know the last time that I'd seen a stranger's penis.
Yeah.
You know, discounting the internet and porn. It's like in a real life cock.
Discount Google image search.
Discounting man's penis that I do every single day. That doesn't count. In real life, yeah, I don't know the last time I'd seen one. So
How
it was
many
good
cocks did you manage to get your eye on?
Four.
That's
Four of
pretty
them.
good.
Yeah, because
how are cocks looking these days?
Yeah, not bad. Not awful. Not bad. I've like, you know, a bit chubbier than I would have liked, but no. Well, I mean, this is Barry's boot camp. These are young-ish professional men.
Yeah,
they've got well-kempt pubes.
Nice.
They're going in the showers, and they're not too, you know, they're kind of confident with what they're packing.
How often are you cutting your pubes?
I haven't in maybe years.
That's incredible.
Because of how my hair works.
I wish my pubes grow so fast. It's like
don't be gross.
It's like a weed. It's like it's like overtaking a garden in a second.
Well, you've got very wiry hair in general. Your leg hair looks like pubic hair, so I can't imagine what your pubic hair looks like.
Well, it's just constant maintenance, and it feels like it's this never-ending jungle where I can only make a dent in it. I can never truly. But then you've got a
mine
sort of 70s
is almost a perfectly
afro.
Formed thing. Mine looks like the result of if you shave it.
Yeah, you got like an iron wall.
I'm blessed. It's because look, if you have no arm hair, if you have like mad pubic jungle, then that's just too unfair. You've got to give it's push and pull, isn't it? Because this is oddly no hair.
Yeah.
So at least I don't have to trim my pubes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
How I imagine your pubes is like,
and you do often
is a sort of like 70s black hair afro,
yes.
like a new 70s
with
newsreader. And it's this tight little curled afro that's just the curls are just tight.
It's almost like the dick is the nose in a way. Whereas I draw little eyes on it.
Where you don't really know where the
yours
pubes
is
end.
like a Dickens spinster.
What's that?
Just a spinster.
A dick in
Dickens. Charles Dickens.
Oh, I see.
Fair enough.
Like an old what? Like
Lady Havisham.
What? Just rotting away?
Yeah, rotting away in a
dark
room with wiry hair.
Still in a wedding dress.
It's almost like
from a wedding dress. 25
That's
years
how I
ago.
imagine your genitals. Yeah, still in a wedding dress. Still in a wedding dress. Bits of hair, like clumps of hair, just falling out, not even realizing they're falling out. It's like bald in places because you haven't shaved very well because you're dyspraxic.
Yeah.
Potting around in the same room. It's dusty in there.
Yeah.
Not much light. Not much air.
I would say because I'm so hairy, it's sort of like it basically just it fades out. There's no. It's very hard to define
where
the
one
borders.
begins and the other ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like trying to define the borders of London.
Why.
It's like there's obviously the city of London. Because you've got the ancient walls, which you can.
But with increasing urban expansion.
But now, Greater London, it's like like is Watford part of London? It's hard to know.
Is that leg hair part of that pube? Who's to say for sure? And we'd be fools to say for sure.
We would be. Yeah.
We'd be fools to say for sure.
So Barry's boot camp, you wouldn't say is the gentleman's way to exercise.
No, it's trash. It's a load of trash. Of course it's trash. What is the gentleman's way to exercise?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it short shorts and then No. Doing like
no.
curls? Is it dressing up like the 118 guy and then doing doing burpees?
Are you just confusing the gentleman with like 80s aerobic exercise? No, not at all.
How is the gentleman exercise?
The gentleman does a country run.
Is it?
It's purely cardio.
Yeah.
He's already got, his muscles are naturally bulging enough for him to not have to do any muscular work. Yeah. It's a 7 mile cardio run around a wood every day.
Okay.
That's how the gentleman exercises, and he does nothing else.
Your diet of like rich meats and gravy, and then drinking insane amounts of liquor. Not that much beer, so you don't put on as many carbs.
Yeah. But dark liquor, not clear liquor, so there's a bit more.
So does that, I wonder how do you keep trim? You know, so you look good in your suits.
They go on a 7 mile run around the woods every day, and then on Sundays go rowing.
Rowing, okay.
After the Sunday roast, they'll go, better
get straight in the boat.
Better get some sculling done. That's what they say.
Yeah. That means you need a whole team for that. So you just meet up with the boys.
You can do one.
The solo ones. Yeah.
That's just what I don't know why people call sculling rowing. I think because they were trying to make it more into a sport. But sculling is the same thing as rowing. I think. I'm sure I'm wrong. Someone will tell me. No, actually, it means this.
So
I don't care.
So Barry's. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I hadn't been on a treadmill since about 2017, and that is because I firmly disagree with them on a number of key points.
I do agree.
The thing is, but that's also because we grew up mostly in Sussex compared to London.
Yeah.
Because I said this to Elle, and she was like, "Yeah, but you like running around London. If it's busy, you've got to stop for people. You might not have access to a park or something."
I was having this thought literally 3 days ago. I was like, the treadmill's stupid. Then I thought about it more and more, and it's like, you know, you could get your cardio and then you don't have to think about it. Yeah. You don't have to think at all.
Yeah. The only thing that's also easy, and it's also the coward's way out, if you live in the countryside, I'd argue, because you got to do like a circuit or a loop in the countryside, whereas with a treadmill, you can just kind of stop whenever.
Yeah, I see.
Enough's enough, rather than getting stuck. Rather than if you run 10 miles away from your house, then suddenly you're 10 miles away from your house and you've got to get back. Adam's done that, and he had to get
too gassed,
and he had to get the bus back.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing thing.
That is the count. Yeah.
I think he didn't have his wallet or something. He managed to get on a bus somehow. But what happens when you get on a treadmill?
Yeah.
Is you run on it. What happens after you get on a treadmill is there's like your kind of perception goes because you've been
trampoline effect.
Yeah. Did we discuss this? Yeah, we did.
Vaguely.
You said the trampoline. Yeah. So it was a lot of running, you know, with someone who hasn't run for a while, and that kind of hit me in the old heart. So I then, and it's so dark in there.
Was Barry there?
I didn't ask.
Was there a fella at the front?
Yeah, there's a guy taking the class. He's not Barry. Barry's like, it's a huge chain.
So he's not doing
Barry
all the
can't
class.
make every single class, no.
But is he doing any of the classes, do you reckon?
No.
Do you not think he's doing any anymore?
No, if Barry's doing any of the classes, I think he needs to reevaluate what he wants in his life.
Yeah, it's like, lads,
because maybe just take a fucking step back.
Enjoy
the money.
Barry's.
Because I looked at the guy who was doing it and I was like, I wouldn't want to be him.
Yeah. Did he not look like he had the kind of business nous to build a sort of fitness empire?
No, and his name was Steve, so it definitely wasn't Barry. But they all personal trainers do look like estate agents.
Yes,
and that's the difficulty because estate agents are surprisingly well trim.
Yeah,
I think because estate agents you have quite a lot of time on your side you have quite a lot of free time. So I think you generally exercise.
You're just up and down all the time.
Who, estate agents?
Yeah, because
you don't get fit by being an estate agent.
I'm saying that I'd like to see their step count. You know, because you sit down, okay, it needs to do 3 houses these days. You're fucking up and down.
3 houses these days.
I need to do 3 houses today. You know, I need to show people around 3 houses. You know, I think you keep yourself relatively trim if you're an estate agent.
Not
you're so
much.
incredibly boring as a person that you're gonna be at the gym. Because in general, boring people are at the gym.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You know.
Yes, but I think that because they have that free time, they go to the gym and they do the workouts.
Where are they getting this free time from? I don't.
Because it's
neither of us know that much about estate agents.
I've heard somewhere that estate agents have free time.
I don't think they do have free time.
We used to know one, and how he's working out at that fucking place.
Yeah,
for
but
like
he's getting up at 8
a day.
in the morning before work. He's working 9 to 5, 5 days a week. It's a
but
classic
I
job.
think you have. If you haven't got, if you're a higher end,
can you take a sabbatical?
If you're higher end, if you're, did you learn that word recently? If you're a higher end estate agent, then you're like, if I haven't got a viewing for a few hours and you've got nothing to do. If you're making mad commish on some high value properties,
Clients,
and houses and all that stuff, then you've got free time. I think the higher up you get, the more you've got a lot of free time as an estate agent.
I don't think you do have a lot of free time.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
No, yeah, because it's a he said, she said situation.
Yeah.
But the guy looked like an estate agent.
Sorry, yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's every kind of, I've seen a lot of comedy kind of sketches or just characters in various things.
Yeah.
Where it's like a character goes to work out and you've got the guy who looks like an estate agent there and he's shouting at you to do stuff. To work, and you fucking hate the guy.
Yeah.
But then as soon as he gives you like, well on you, you're doing well, you're like, you just love him and want
You're
to
like,
impress
daddy,
him. You're
daddy,
like,
daddy.
please love me, dad.
So did you get any compliments?
Not as much as I would like, to be honest. Only like one, he said something, but you can't, it's so fucking mental in there because you're in a basement and it's almost pitch black. It's a health hazard because when I haven't run on the treadmill for years, as many of us know now, is that the amount of times I thought I could easily fall over on that treadmill it was too many.
Don't bear mentioning.
But then anyway, no, so I got off the treadmill and it was like, you go on this, you have the trampoline effect thing, whatever it is, and you're going like that. And then this man is shouting at you. There's this like kind of shit dance music playing. It's almost like strobe lights. And I haven't exercised like that for a while. And I was like almost fainted. Didn't. Pulled it together.
Made it to the cocks in the changing room.
Made it to the dicks because that was what I was really there for. But it was nice to see some cocks, basically. Yes. That was the main thing about it. And also just be amongst the metropolitan elite of London.
Yeah. Did you feel quite? Do you feel quite smug?
I felt the most privileged I've felt for 5 years.
Really, Barry's?
Yeah. Because it was like, it's a bit expensive.
Sure.
It's not like it's quite a lot for an hour, actually. It's probably like 25 for an hour.
Okay.
So, immediately you're getting into the... So people that were going there regularly are rich, don't know what I mean? Yeah. So I felt like I was maybe going to do some deals.
Yeah.
My dream is to do a deal in Barry's naked in the shower.
That's a classy place to get a big deal.
It really classy.
Well, really classy. Well, Barry's is not super classy.
It's not.
You want taking a client, well, maybe a game of squash with a high value client.
Well, golf is always the best for that.
It is, but is there something maybe even more dynamic to really working up a sweat?
Yes.
And then you're in there with the client. This is a big deal. You've been schmoozing him left, right, and centre. Yeah. And then as you're standing there with the towel, and
what are you doing with him?
No, I'm getting the towel.
Are you in the? I'm not tossing as you're bringing him to completion.
You're rubbing the towel betwixt your cheeks,
gooch,
like this.
Your gooch, yeah.
And that's when you close the deal.
And you slap him with the towel to finalise it.
A bit of rat tailing, locker room chat. It's just guys being dudes.
Well, that's the thing that I think we've missed, guys being dudes.
And I like that. I think if you can confidently walk around a shower and do that thing where you sort of clump the towel together and you just sort of scrub your dick and balls like this.
Yeah.
There's something incredibly masculine about that, I find.
There's a lack of regard.
Yeah, there's just sort of like, fuck it. If you do it confidently enough, I think Mediterraneans are actually great at that with the really dark body hair. Just rubbing away down there.
Yeah, I don't know because why do you think Mediterraneans are good at that?
I just think they have a confidence at drying their genitalia.
But why? I'm just interested in where this has come from because we both just said how we've not seen a stranger's penis in years.
Because they're more sexually open. You know,
this is going back to your whole Middle Eastern dad fantasy.
Yeah, no, that's slightly different. Because I don't know. I don't think Middle Eastern guys have the same sort of confidence when they're scrubbing their genitals. Actually,
if I was to guess, I'd say no.
No, but I think Iranians could be the hairiest guys in the world. From
your understanding,
from my understanding of the universe, I'd say around that period, around that area is where the most body hair could be found.
Iran,
around there, Middle East, kind of that's sort of where
it sounds right.
Yeah, that's
It sounds right. It's hard to speculate, to be honest.
And then it sort of fades away,
A bit like your pubes, and then it's hard to define the epicenter of pubic hair in the world.
So the Conservative conference was this weekend.
Yeah, sounds right.
And it feels like it's been quite like a moment because it feels like the Conservatives have sort of come out fighting in a way that's quite rare for Conservative people. Like I saw a clip of this insane woman doing a speech.
Is that the one you sent me?
Yeah, the one I sent you. And the caption was Britain's strictest teacher, so I don't know if she's like a known figure, doing this bizarre rant about basically standing up for Conservative values, discipline our kids, anti-woke. She started quoting Gladiator.
She did. She quoted Gladiator.
Yeah.
She said that she quotes Gladiator every morning to her staff. So she's clearly like a headmaster.
And she's a Russell Crowe
in an anti-woke school.
Yeah.
Imagine being in her assemblies with your head teacher quoting Gladiator.
Yeah. But it's interesting because they're at a weird place now where they need to kind of like reassert what their values are.
Yeah.
And they're coming out fighting because everything's
post-local elections are now like, although it was obvious that they're going to be struggling, now it's their colours are nailed to the mast that they're pretty fucked.
Well, they're just, and it's just this breed of Tories is so much more unhinged than the ones that we grew up with. So it's
but that's because the left and the right are becoming even more. Everything's more unhinged.
Everything's more unhinged
because they're looking at America as like we're now. What are we going to respond to this kind of surge in the left? And it's going a bit more like mental identity politics.
Yeah,
like
culture wars.
Get Britain's strictest teacher on there to quote the Gladiator and say, "Get your kids out of a woke school and wake them the fuck up."
Yeah.
It's GB News.
It's
GB News conservatism or Fox News conservatism.
Yeah.
So do you think that's where it's going to go?
Well,
I'm not sure it'll take off.
I'm positive Starmer will win the next election because my grandparents said they're going to vote for Starmer, and they're die-hard Conservatives. They're like whole lives free market Conservatives.
Yeah. Well, he's bringing business into the Labour narrative.
As soon as my grandparents didn't even vote for Blair, so I think now that they're so upset with everyone's just so sick of COVID and all that stuff and how that was handled. I think Starmer's a shoo-in. So it does create like a bit.
Well, it's not just COVID. It's where the economy's at. It's the
cost of living,
the result of
Brexit,
of cost of living.
Yeah.
Our growth is the worst out of everything because they keep using COVID as an excuse, but it's like, but other countries aren't doing this shit.
Yeah,
because they're obviously the majority. They're kind of the face of Brexit as well, because most of it was majority, and they've been the government to try and take us through it. Well, it's just and then Liz Truss.
Yeah,
it's all been like their reputation couldn't be any worse. Yeah. It's a fucking disaster.
But then Starmer is sort of just doubling down on being
Starmer the potato farmer.
Beer Starmer the potato farmer.
Yeah, thank you, please. Come on.
He's now like basically coming out as like a old school Tory or like a Cameron Tory. He's like saying he loves the UK and doing all of that stuff, and that we're the real Conservatives, and he's sort of just trusting that the left are going to vote for him, and it's just going for
he's blaring a little bit.
But Blair even didn't do this level of like pandering, I don't think.
But I think because they're looking at it like the amount of hardcore Labour supporters that defected to the Tories in the last election when we had Corbyn was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Places you'd never expect to vote Tory did.
Yeah.
So it's like that he's now trying to drag those back.
Yeah.
He's got the perfect opportunity to because how much the Tories have fucked it.
Yeah.
So he's saying, we believe, I think his whole thing is, look, we want like a dynamic kind of Labour government and we believe in the importance of government, but we also believe that the importance of business you can't deny it. And we're going to bolster both. So that's how you drag some of them back. Because it's like, I think Labour still think they're in like a hangover from Corbyn.
Yeah.
Because they went for the ideals and it didn't work. So now they're going back. Now we're back to compromise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty bleak. But you said there was an interview with Farage.
Well, yeah. No. Well, it's the big kind of mental news, really.
Yeah,
I think it was on his GB News show, but it's unconfirmed.
Talking Pints.
Talking Pints. It probably was. He probably had a few too many and just kind of opened up a bit. No, he basically said, Brexit has gone badly. It's been.
Yeah.
He didn't say disaster, but he said it's not going well.
Yeah.
He said he said it's been a failure, basically, which is obviously huge news, given he was the most
number one
famous proponent of Brexit.
Yeah.
There is, and that was his entire career's goal was to get Britain out of the EU. I mean, he was saying that it's like the fault of the politicians who have been pushing it through, rather than So he hasn't. No, he's not saying like.
I'm a Europhile now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like saying it was my idea of Brexit has been shit. It's
Yeah.
like my idea of Brexit hasn't been completed. It's other people's ideas of Brexit that fucked it.
And there was also.
But then it's like, because it's like, he's constantly complaining about politicians.
Yeah.
He's like started UKIP, or
Yeah.
did he start UKIP?
No.
No, but big part of UKIP.
Yeah.
Going anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then his whole thing is like, well, let's get Britain away from the European Union. And now he's like, yeah, but the politicians, like, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah.
It wasn't like UKIP and you were gonna be in power. It's
Yeah.
obviously gonna be handled by the same establishment politicians that you've had a problem with in Brussels.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck did you expect and what did you want to happen?
Yeah.
So he's actually an idiot.
Yeah.
Or just playing that game. He's just a heckler, basically.
It's a really weird feeling now because I think everyone knows it's fucked. But
Yeah.
it's like
But even
it's not even productive to say it's fucked anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I told you so. And
But
it's
can we
like,
not go back?
Can
we just like, I feel like if Farage has said it,
Yeah.
that Brexit is failing, let's go back. Is that not fair?
But it basically what we have to do to get back, and we have to speak quietly because obviously
There's a few.
this is a tender issue, but you kind of have to do it. You have to kind of maintain the egos where it's like, how about we go back, but
Yeah.
we won't make fun.
We won't mention it.
We won't make fun of
Yeah,
you guys
yeah, yeah.
anymore. That's kind of like
Yeah.
because
it's like it's a
Brexiteers
policy
have been
of silence.
called idiots for so long,
Yeah.
and they were so upset with being called idiots by experts
Yeah.
that they voted this in and said, "Well, look at this," and
Yeah.
it turns out they were idiots, and now it's like to go back. That's just too much for an ego to take, I think.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people have realised it, or feel embarrassed by it.
So, is there a deal we can do which has the aesthetics of like a ultra nationalist Brexit thing, but the practicalities are rejoining the EU?
We can make everyone fly the Union Jack outside of their house.
Yes.
But we go back to Europe.
I think that we need to find some sort of like
Yeah.
surface level
Everyone
compromise.
has to have a beef dinner on Sunday. But we're still in the single market.
Yeah. Can we like? The problem is you'd have to try and negotiate with the EU, but if we could try and sell it as like, well, we're taking over Europe.
Yeah.
Or like something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then like the European
Yeah.
Commission, we're like, lads, can we just?
Well, we can pretend we can.
We speak to like
in
the
our
people in Brussels and be like, lads,
Yeah.
can we just like, can you just play along with
Well,
this?
we can pretend that we're like spies going in. So we can be like, right, now that we're out, they'll
Yeah.
never suspect us going back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
You change it from
And
the
we'll
inside.
say, we made a mistake. We didn't really. We're going back in to find information about our enemies and what's going to make Britain better.
Or is there just like can we have like in the European Parliament, can we have like a big special chair or something? Or like, do you know what I mean? It's just something, or like put us in the middle or something.
I think it's hard. We're not going to be able to negotiate
It's
that with
hard
the
to
EU,
negotiate. That's the problem.
Because
That's
they'll
what
be
we-
like, if you come back, you're in the silly chair. You're going to have the dunce hat on for a year.
I
And
mean, it
we'll be
deserves.
like, so fair enough.
We deserve to
So fair
have
enough.
dance.
I'd love to go back for many reasons, but partly for it kind of it suits us as a
Yeah.
nation in this kind of time.
Yeah.
It kind of speaks to British comedy a bit as well. Just like, we're leaving. Can we come back?
Can we come back with the dunce hat?
Knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Can we come back? I
Yeah.
think it works for everything.
Also, it feels like the American election cycle's just beginning
Yeah.
to start up again.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an interesting one because my boy Donny T's back in the mix.
Yeah.
Can
Can someone who's like been convicted of sexual assault come back? That's where like, is there not there? I think there's a rule against
But has he
it.
been convicted?
You're not. I swear you're not allowed to do another term anyway.
He didn't get assault. I think he got harassment.
Yeah,
So
whatever.
we
yeah.
should make him head of the UN
Yeah, because of that. Yeah.
because it's a clear.
If he was cleared of assault, but
No, we
harass,
can't run. Harassment.
You're in charge
That's
of
my
NATO,
king.
but no more than that. Well, no, there's also the rule that I don't think he's actually allowed to because of he's had one term and then was voted off. So I don't think you can, but he's going to change it. Or I don't
How much genuinely? Because during the Trump era, he dominated the headlines so much that I was overwhelmed with Trump stuff. It got so tedious.
was a Trump dump.
And it was it was a Trump dump truck all over the place. And it felt there was a real sense of relief when Biden got in, that it was like, at least there's just like a bit of quiet.
Yes.
How much do you miss him?
Quite a lot.
I miss him quite a lot.
Yeah,
and it is a problem that
Well, it's a drama.
having some space from him, and maybe because he's not in there doing all that shit.
Well, the problem
he was, you know,
the problem is no one
he's still
wants,
the funniest president of all time.
no one wants, for the good of our democracy, for the news to focus on entertainment.
Yeah.
But everyone wants, for the good of their entertainment, for the news to be entertainment.
It's a tough one.
So it's like weaning off crack.
Yeah, and we're not politicians; we're entertainers.
Exactly.
So it's a tricky one.
We don't really care how
Not
the democracy
really.
goes.
Not really.
We're not too interested in the state of the nation.
We're looking for our slop. You know,
We are.
We're content whores.
Exactly. I mean, with climate change, we did a whole bit about potato kind of trading.
Yeah.
That's our bread and butter.
That's what
is
we do. Yeah.
Ecological and environmental catastrophe.
Yeah.
As well as so Trump bringing in his kind of chaos gives us enough to talk about.
I saw an interview with him, and when you see his interviews, and you're like, God, yeah, it's just like no one's really at his level.
No.
And I think I remember when he was coming up, we were at uni. It was the period where we were just so like fuck Trump and all that. I didn't even view him as charismatic. I just viewed him as this. But now you start to see, because you're used to the other ones, like fuck, he really is. It's pretty unique. He was asked. He was on some hard hitting interview, and he was being pressed on QAnon.
Yeah.
Right, and his response is fucking hilarious. He was being pressed. Basically, there's a whole sect in society. Some of these people are causing shootings. They're doing domestic terrorism in the name of QAnon. Who believe that you are
Me?
no, I'm the interviewer.
What do they believe?
Donald Trump is going into the White House, draining the swamp of a cabal of satanic paedophiles. All right.
Yeah.
Can you right now, Donald Trump, basically say that's complete nonsense?
Yeah,
and he was like,
I saw that.
And he was basically like, I don't know anything about QAnon.
Yeah,
what I will say is I'm against paedophilia, which is just incredible. The whole QAnon things, where there's this insane thing. Of course, he knows all about it.
Why would he stop that fire?
Why would he stop?
Why would he stop it? Because that's literally his base.
Instead, he was like, well, it sounds to me a lot like you like paedophilia. I don't know anything about QAnon. I've never even heard of it. What I will say is I think paedophilia is bad. As if that was what...
And the QAnon are going, yeah! Well, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he knows what he's doing. But yeah, I mean, for the good of the world, it's bad.
Definitely. Surely. But Biden really, you know, I enjoyed a bit of Sleepy Joe. He hasn't fallen off a bike in a while.
Yeah.
And I do think he's a bit of a one-trick pony with...
Yeah,
it's like I'm old.
You can only get so many sentences completely wrong for like international press conferences. Then it becomes a bit try hard.
Strum is constantly.
Trump is you never really know what he's doing.
It's
well,
really
I don't know. At the end, I think I was a bit bored of it.
I definitely was getting, and I also found the stop the steal stuff was a bit.
That was a bit sad. Yeah. It was a sad way for him to go out.
Yeah,
but it was the natural way, wasn't it?
But yeah. All right, well, thanks very much for listening, guys. We will see you next week. Please remember to subscribe to El Patreones, and we'll see you next week.